post and comment one. So I'm going to attribute this to, of course, this makes sense. Because in my head, everything makes sense. Of course, for everybody else, you're like, dude, what are we supposed to do? So the whole idea behind this assignment was that you will, in a couple of weeks, have a portfolio that's going to be on Market Watch, but you don't yet. And so some of you are like, I don't get this. So I apologize for that, because I wanted to start this whole interaction between students sooner rather than later. And because it is maybe the most powerful part of the class, to be perfectly honest with you. The fact that you're going to have a portfolio, and every week you're going to be using something like ChatGPT in order to help you do a little bit of research, and then means you've got to read it, right? And then you're going to share it with the class, and then you're going to go look at what four of your classmates posted. That means that inside of, let's call it 20 minutes max, you're going to get an extraordinary digestion, market digestion. What the heck happened? You're going to get an extraordinary view, and super important. So I decided, hey, I want to get this started earlier. And then, of course, I didn't take into account the Market Watch isn't going to start for a couple of weeks. So here's what you can do, because I do think there's still significant value in this. Some students you can see have already posted, which is great, right? Either they already have investments, or they already started on Market Watch. But if you haven't done that, here's what you can do. Let's go to ChatGPT. So what you can do is say, what happened in the markets this past week? Uh, let's see, what happened in the market? What happened in the markets this week that would impact an average investment portfolio, right? And so you could, something very basic like that. This is going to be similar to what you do, except that hopefully you'll be able to spell. This is the downside to doing something like this, is that you're going to quickly discover this guy can't spell. But I've got, my little helpers here that'll tell me I don't know how to spell. But this is what you can do, because in a couple of weeks, once you have a portfolio, you're going to go, hey, these are my stocks. What happened? And and so this is what you're going to get. You're going to get an amazing digestion of what happened over this past week. Here's a big picture, investor level recap. And so this is what you want to get. So, you could tighten it up a little bit and say, how, look at what's going on in the market today. How could the negotiations with Iran impact an average portfolio, right? How could Bad Bunny's performance at the Super Bowl impact an investment portfolio? You could truly be that general, and there's always going to be something that would impact an investment portfolio. So play with it a little bit. The whole idea is that I used to have you go do research on your own. So I'd get students that would go like use Google or whatever, and it would just be horrible. The quality of the product that came back was just horrible. And it was because the data sources were horrible. And now with ChatGPT, I mean, look at this. This just gives, I mean, it gives you stocks and bonds, oil. It gives you a little bit of crypto, which is very interesting. And this gives you a huge. And by the way, it's going to take you a minute or 2 minutes to read this. You're going to be like, right? Hopefully, it'll encourage you to do something like, tell me more about oil prices, right? What impact could the conversations with Iran have on oil prices, right? Once again, on oil. And the bad news is I am literally looking at the keyboard, and I've got like 3 or 4 fingers that I know how to type with. This is just disappointing. Oil prices, right? So this is a big deal for everybody. And so now you're going to get a little bit of a deeper dive. And this is where I love ChatGPT. This isn't cheating. right? A lot of people are going to go, oh, using AI is cheating. AI is not cheating if you use it correctly. This is going to be giving you a much deeper view, and if you use it correctly, so dig in a little bit more. And so like today, I just read. I mean, look at this. This is amazing, right? Why this matters to the average investment portfolio. This is great. And so I just listened, and because I just listened to a podcast on the price of beef. Very interesting. What can you tell me about this and potential investment opportunities, right? Or potential investments? Because I was driving home, and I was listening to this thing on Bloomberg, and they were talking about the price of beef and what a huge nightmare it is, right? And this is right what they were just saying this, right? The U.S. Cattle herd is historically low, and but the problem is that historic demand hasn't gone away. This is a traditional supply demand challenge. And how does this what does this mean to everyday consumers? Investment angles. Here's some things that you could do, right? Or you could buy Tyson, JBS, Hormel. So the whole point of this exercise is to really begin to access broader, but also more narrow, because there's more breadth and depth of information on investing and using ChatGPT to do that. So I apologize for the confusion. No, you don't have a Market Watch portfolio yet. Yes, you will. But this is how you could do this now. And I just spent what, like 3, 4, 5 minutes? And man, maybe I need to go buy a Hormel. I don't like Tyson so much. Maybe I dig in on Hormel or click on it, and it'll begin to tell me a little bit about this thing. And now I can then, if I wanted to, I could dig in and say, of the three companies, uh, which would be the best to invest in, right? Which CIMPAN, which has performed best historically. You don't have to do this, but hopefully, what will happen is that your natural curiosity is gonna encourage you to dig a little bit, right? And then this is where really the learning becomes really much more dynamic and so much more impactful. So I do apologize for the confusion. It sounded great in my head. I just forgot to follow through. So I do apologize. Hopefully, this little lecture and me babbling around a little bit and you quickly discovering this dude can't spell. Hopefully, you won't hold that against me too much. If you have questions, you know how to find me. A bunch of you are already texting me. I love it. Reach out. I tend to respond pretty quick. Peace.